This is a program we undertook with eircom, and our sponsors are Valo and BDO, to find the top 3 companies that are going to come and pitch to us today. We started with over 100 companies. We added down to 11 yesterday. They came and pitched to the core ITLG team and the investor delegation from the US. We've picked the top 3. They're going to pitch for 6 minutes, then we're going to have 2 minutes of questions, and I'm going to ask someone off stage to please be the timekeeper for me and give me a wave. We're then going to pick the winners, and that will be announced tonight at the dinner. These are fantastic companies. This is the highlight of the day. So I want to call on the first company now, Legal Shine.
I think there's a clicker here. Is this it?
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And no, you don't get penalized on your time.
Sure, okay, thank you. Thanks, everybody. I'm Ian from Legal Shine. And if there's anybody in the audience that ever got a shock after getting a really big legal bill, well, then you'll understand the problem that we're solving with Legal Shine. When you get a really big bill, it's not so much just the size of it, as in everybody knows the legal fees are going to be expensive. The problem really is when you get a big bill like this, how can you tell whether those charges were justified or not? Were the charges fair or were you overcharged? Really, how can you tell? Well, very large organisations that spend millions a year on their legal fees, they have that same problem too. Only for them it's multiplied exponentially because their spend is so large and because it's spread out across the whole organisation, across different departments, different projects, different countries even. And because it's so difficult for these organisations to judge whether the value of what they're paying for is of value, and because that problem is made worse by the fragmented way in which they get the bills, overcharging by law firms simply slips under the radar, and overspending on the part of these organisations goes unchecked. Legal fees become a black hole, and millions is wasted. We launched the Legal Shine platform with one of Ireland's largest banks back in October, and in a 3-month pilot they saw savings of over 12.6%. Now that's an organisation that spends up to 20 million a year on their legal fees. So they're seeing annualised savings and value now of over €2 million per annum, and that's why they signed up as one of our first customers. Here's how it works. We've built a semantic engine that can read the text on legal bills and then understand what the lawyer actually did. And because we can categorise each piece of work, the software can standardise everything. So for the bank, it can analyse and benchmark the spend, which allows it to uncover any overcharging and to eliminate any waste. And with all the data now that the system is gathering, the bank can now tell precisely what is the work that should go into every project that it gives a law firm, and it can tell what that price should be. And this is something the bank never had before. That's the ability to dictate to their law firms what the fixed fee for the work should be. And that's a fundamental change in the relationship between the buyer and the supplier, which is a fundamental change in this industry. In addition to the Irish Bank, we've also agreed a contract with a large government department. We just finished a pilot with one of Ireland's largest retailers, and we have 2 more other pilots we're launching in the forthcoming weeks, one with a company in New York. And just as of last month, we hit our target of over €100,000 of annual recurring revenue within a year of founding the company, and without raising any significant money. There's over 300 billion spent every year globally on corporate legal fees. We're targeting large companies in the US and the UK, which gives us a revenue opportunity of $1.5 billion. We're already engaged with a number of financial institutions in the City of London. And we also have, as I mentioned, we've agreed our first pilot with a New York-based company, and we are engaged with a US partner who's a large legal consulting firm with a number of Fortune 500 companies. Our market breaks down into 3 main segments. We charge a recurring monthly fee for the service. At the very large, for a very large enterprise, that means a 6-figure annual contract, and we're targeting these very large companies first with direct field sales. After that, we're going to move on to slightly smaller companies with a lighter version of the product, and we're going to target these with a combination of web channels and inside sales. And we can also target individual departments within the large enterprises with that light version of the product, enabling us to speed up the sales cycle at the very large end. We do face competition in the US from large legal technology companies that have what they call e-billing systems. But these e-billing systems have a number of problems that have failed to address the problem with overbilling. They don't have any real analytical capability. They're focused purely on the functional processing of invoices. And also they require outside law firms to sign up to the service. And what that does is it creates an enormous barrier to adoption because multiple stakeholders all have to change their behaviours in order for the project to work. Legal Shine is the next generation version of legal spend management, and it fundamentally addresses the problem that these incumbents have failed to address. Now that we've launched the product and we've got traction, we're raising money to grow. We're raising a seed round of €750,000 to invest in the product in form of US-specific changes and to invest in growth in the form of building out our sales and support teams to support growth in the London and New York markets. To execute on this plan, we built a team that knows the space and knows the technology. My co-founder Alex and I both come from legal backgrounds. I previously built a legal technology company from the ground up. My co-founder Alex spent over 7 years as a lawyer in one of Ireland's largest law firms. Our CTO Tony is a senior Java engineer who's built multiple enterprise solutions in the banking and insurance sectors with companies like Fineos. And in just over a year of founding the company, we've proven that we can execute. We've built and launched an enterprise-grade product. We've signed up blue chip clients, and we've gone from zero to over €100,000 in annual recurring revenue within the first year of the company. Corporate legal fees are a black hole. Now, they cost companies millions in waste every year. We're Legal Shine. We're bringing modern data-driven analysis to legal departments around the world. We're taking this huge age-old problem and we're solving it with new technologies, and we're changing this industry for the better. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ian. I'll hand it over to the panel now for 2 minutes of questions. So quick fire, please.
Hi, Ian. Well done. Great presentation. I'd be very interested to learn a little bit more about your pricing strategy, because, take the bank example that you gave, about 12% savings on a 20 million legal bill. How do you price, or do you price to value on that?
Well, what we do right now is we price the volume of spend. So if it's an organisation that spends 20 million a year, we tag the price to that, which is 1% of that. Our first customer got a reduction, but that's the price going forward. So what we would banks, companies like that prefer to have a standard monthly fee that they know what they're going to be paying, so they can budget for it. We'd love to be taking a percentage of savings. We're very wealthy if we could do that, but at the moment it's just a monthly fee that we charge.
How do the law firms agree to restructure their fees? What's that process look like?
So the way it works at the moment is a bill would come in to, let's say, one of our clients. The software does its job and it gives them an email with 2 to 3 points that are problematic with that bill. They pick up the phone and they call the law firm. So we haven't really changed that conversation that always did happen. We're just aiming our clients, or arming our clients with the data to be able to have a robust conversation over that, and that's factual and backed up, rather than the kind of usual horse trading that will go on. So the law firms are reducing the fees in the way they always did, but now it's just backed up by data.
And Alex, who are you selling to in the financial services? Who's the buyer? Is it the CFO? Is it the head of legal?
It would be the head of legal or the general counsel.
Okay.
And we sometimes have procurement involved, sometimes the CFO, but principally it's the head of legal.
And what about big financial services firms that have a lot of in-house legal capability, which has, also been a trend over the last couple of years?
So at the moment, we just deal with the outside fees,
okay.
the external fees, but we will be able to build in the future the pricing. So one of the big decisions they need to make is, should this work really be being outsourced? So if we're spending 200 on employment work, maybe we should hire an in-house lawyer at 70,000 per year to take on that work. So that's something in the future that we're going to add.
And physically, what does the bank have to do from an IT systems infrastructure point of view to get Legal Shine up and running on their platform? Because again, banks traditionally are slow to touch any of the infrastructure, trading platforms and firewalls and security at the moment, cyber security risks, etc., all very high on the.
So it's designed with that in mind. At the moment, what happens is it takes data from PDFs that are sent in via email. So we take emails from a central place. We're not integrating with any internal systems or anything like that.
Okay.
And the technology, how do you continue to develop that to make it robust so that you can defend against these large competitors that you're obviously going to get noticed by at some stage?
Quick answer, Ian, please.
Sure. Well, I mean, it's simply something that they haven't even considered yet. So, I mean, we're developing that capability, that language analysis capability to do what they have to tell the outside providers to do manually at the moment. So we believe we're kind of a year ahead of these guys, and we'll continue to be a year ahead in the future.
Big round of applause for Legal Shine.
Well done, Alex.
Thank you. Okay, the next company is C Labs. Welcome.
Well, if we get the slides up, we can get started. Let's talk about C Labs. There we go. Perfect. The intersection of IoT and the industrial revolution going on in manufacturing and other areas, together with industrial data security and enterprise IT complexity, provides a very interesting opportunity which C Labs is addressing in the marketplace. Our product, our software product, is a highly scalable IoT software platform that delivers live access to industrial equipment and IoT data without compromising or sidestepping enterprise IT security. We already have a significant number of customers. Those on the left-hand side are major manufacturers of equipment that you would recognize around the world. They want to take our software and embed it into their products that they bring to the market. In fact, 80% of our business today is in Europe, even though we're actually based in the United States. The customers on the right-hand side, those are end users that want to take our software to connect systems and devices together to get new and unique perspectives on their business. In addition to all these customers, we have a very healthy pipeline of plant operators, equipment makers, and frankly others that we just don't have the resources to respond to the sales opportunity yet. We've significantly differentiated ourselves from our competition by being more than a communications platform and by not tying our customers to any particular back end or systems. When doing that, we basically address two significant problems that customers have. One, in implementing IoT solutions, threats to data security. And number two, in implementing those systems, the challenge of IT organizations not being able to keep up. So, C Labs solves those two problems. Let's talk about how that works. On the left-hand side of the slide, a piece of industrial equipment. It could be an entire plant, it could be a robot, it could be anything. That is in a separate operations realm. You want to get to that piece of equipment with some new application or device that exists in the enterprise network, but not on the operations floor. You don't want to connect directly to that device. That actually would, give your CIO a heart attack. He would, he or she would lose a lot of sleep over that. Instead, C Labs software in a ruggedized industrial PC is dropped onto the plant floor to connect both the operations system and the enterprise system. C Labs factory relay software, through a patent-pending approach, connects to and discovers industrial equipment, and then also makes a connection to the external device or application. So now you have information flowing, fully secure and fully manageable by enterprise IT, which is a critical difference. What we do for local devices, we can also do for remote devices. So now I'm outside the enterprise network. I still want to get that same view inside the data or inside those systems at the plant level or across multiple plants. Again, you don't want to allow a connection onto the factory floor. And so instead, our factory relay software connects out to the cloud. The remote device or site connects to the cloud. And again, not doing anything our competitors do, really a different approach where we only use that cloud connection for a communications relay. We don't store or process data in the cloud, which is very important to industrial automation particularly. So, remote and mobile access for equipment use, a user interface for feedback and control, no unsafe inbound connections, and fully compliant with enterprise IT policies. Here's three scenarios. One, you are a maker of industrial equipment. Your equipment is at a customer location. You need information for customer support or predictive maintenance. You can't reach into your customer's plant and network to get that. C Labs solves that problem for you. Let's say you're a provider of mobile heavy equipment. You put it out on a customer site. Today, you charge them for the amount of time that your equipment is on site, not the work that equipment is doing. If you understand what's going on with the equipment, you can now turn your product into a service and completely change your revenue model and your business model. C-Labs can enable that. Third, you are an owner or an operator of a plant or multiple plants, and without disturbing your existing systems which manage that and run that plant operation for you, you want to get new operational and situational awareness. C-Labs solves that problem for you. We do that with an approach that is completely flexible and works out of the box. And so there's no additional things that you need to do with that, although it's an open platform that allows you to write additional applications and connect it to additional systems. Here's how one customer at the Hanover Fair, the world's largest industrial automation show, talked about the C-Labs approach and how we can connect the operations realm and that industrial panel that's bolted onto a piece of equipment through our relay to the enterprise realm, enabling a whole new set of scenarios and applications that have not been possible before, particularly in industrial automation. In fact, what we say is we connect the concrete of the factory floor to the carpeted floor of the office and the enterprise. We can do that at scale, across multiple sites with redundancy. We can do that with legacy equipment, and we can also do that with new equipment that hasn't been brought to market yet. For example, heads-up holographic displays to use with equipment in the plant. Customers love us, partners love us, analysts love us, and are singing our praises. We've done our homework. We understand what segments to go after. We're specifically going after industrial automation because there are fewer competitors, and those customers spend 7 times more than customers in other areas on IoT implementations. From just a few $100,000 in revenue, in 5 years we see this being north of $50 million. If I continue this growth out for 10 years, it's nearly a $2 billion business and a $150 billion market. Our revenue shifts over time as we deal with both OEM customers and operators of equipment as well. We're cash flow and EBITDA positive within 2 years. We need about $2 million to get through the next 18 to 24 months, and then we're generating significant cash, which we can reinvest in the business. So we're looking for $2 million now, and I invite you to participate in our growth. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Okay, over to you guys.
Very good. Well, what's your first name?
John.
John, well done. You are passionate and dynamic. I struggle to understand what it is that you actually do. And so I got it when you mentioned about the earth-moving equipment, that if I'm leasing that to you, I can charge you for the numbers of hours it's in operation rather than the number of hours sitting on site. Mm-hmm. Can you maybe ground it in 1 or 2 more examples of where your customers are actually paying you for the benefit and how that can scale?
Yeah, let me use an example of a particle accelerator in Stanford. It's a 2-mile-long linear accelerator. You're spending a lot of money to run experiments on this. There's cooling units along the 2-mile chamber. You need to make sure that those cooling units continue to work so that you don't have a breakdown and destroy the experimental value of the work that you're doing. By using, well, in this particular customer case, they have equipment that's 50 years old and equipment they bought just last week. They need to be able to join this together so they can get continuous monitoring from that equipment, not just in the accelerator, but across the entire plant and from the outside world as well. Same thing with a car manufacturer in Eastern Europe. They're looking at monitoring all of the existing systems so that they can start to predict when there might be failure, because downtime on the plant line costs them about $75,000 per minute.
Thank you.
Normally, when venture capitalists look at funding a business, they look for a business that's already working and just needs to be scaled.
Yes.
I was going to ask you, but you showed it. What percentage of your business is professional services, and what percent of your business is platform services? Right now, it looks like 90% plus is professional services. Is that correct?
Historically, although I'd say it's a bit misleading, because in most of the instances we've given the customer a bundled price that includes some assistance in making sure that our initial product actually does everything they want to do. If I split that out a different way, we'd be maybe charging higher license fees for some of that, but I didn't want to sort of call it anything other than it was. And so, today it's 80 to 90% professional services, and that's changing over time. All of the customers I showed you up there have paid us not just for services, but also for the product as well. And we've now demonstrated to ourselves and customers that the product can work off the shelf.
So if I was to invest in you, I'd need to validate that whether or not I was actually paying for scaling capital or whether I was underwriting a company that needed professional services. Are you actually cash flow positive or profitable with the professional services business you're doing right now?
With the professional services business, yes, I would say overall, given what we're investing, continuing to invest in product development, we're not. So we're cash poor for the next 18 months.
Okay.
One last question.
I was going to ask you the bill of materials, this box that you're putting in, is your IP the software that runs on that? And, what to Sean's point, it sounds like at the moment in the market you have to do a lot of work to get this into the customer, which is the professional services piece. So what does that cost breakout look like?
Yeah, so the box is just an off-the-shelf industrial PC.
Okay.
We buy it for a couple of $1,000, put our software in and sell it for a lot more.
Okay.
And the professional services component has been a combination of running workshops with customers to teach them how to use this, so we understand what difficulties customers have. So in fact, we're getting customers to pay us to do the documentation and really refine the product, so now it works off the shelf.
Okay, thank you very much, C Labs.
Thank you. Well done, John.
Okay, please welcome on stage our final company, Kinetize.
Is it working?
There you go.
Hi, my name is Piotr Pawlak. I would like to tell you today about the new approach to software development. Who builds mobile apps? Developers. They work very hard, even late at night, to meet their deadlines. They cost a lot of money because they need to have a certain skill set, and it takes them a lot of time to build those apps. What's funny, the applications which you have in your tiny little mobile phones are usually built not by one guy, but the whole army of them. What makes the budget skyrocket and takes even longer. What's not funny is that those people are very hard to find on the market, what only increases the price. I know this because I've been running a successful software house for 9 years now, and we finally decided to do something about it, to do something about the fact that our services are too expensive, especially for entrepreneurs and small companies. How about making it that simple that connect up those who need apps with those who can make apps? We do this in our platform by offering them a special tool that enables building those apps extremely fast by one single man without using any special skill set, and my colleague Maciek will show it to you right now. We are running live demo for you of our visual programming tool called Kinetize. It's available online. You design the application by dragging and dropping widgets to the phone, just like that. For example, this is a widget called Image, for which you can take picture from Image Bank or from your hard drive. Let's do something more complex now. Let's add data feed widget, which loads data from external source in any XML or JSON file. Now let's modify this default layout a little bit. Let's delete this piece of text. Let's add Facebook share functionality. And let's make it a bit bigger so it's more clickable. That's how you build your app. Let's do something else. Let's add map widget to a new screen. We just drag the map to the screen, and here it is. The pin you see right now is hard-coded in the application, but we can switch to online mode to show the list of pins loaded dynamically from the server. We can also enable GPS location services so that the application knows where we are. And here we are in Dublin. Let's show you now how to send data out from the application. We do this using form widget. We'll place it on a new screen. This form widget can send data either to email address or to database server if you have one. We can add more features, for example, checkboxes, radio buttons, or take photo functionality so that users can take pictures and submit them directly from within the app. To finalize our application, let's add Facebook login to the splash screen. Here it is. And let's add video to the background to add a visual design twist to our application. The video is loading, and come on. Here it is. Now, a very important thing. We have designed this application just once, but we guarantee it will run and look good on every platform, every device, every screen resolution, even in landscape mode. Now let's click Build button. This starts automatic compilation process, which will last only 2 minutes. Usually, when you design the app like we just did, you need to give this design to your development team, who will work on the app for a few weeks or months. Today, it will last only 2 minutes. While this is in progress, let me answer the most important question: what apps could be built with this tool? Actually, any or almost any business application you can imagine. There are plenty of examples already in app stores, but I would like to show you just one proof of concept we did, this app. Does it remind you of something? It's fully functioning blue social network application, which we have built in 16 hours just to prove the power of this tool. Now, if you know you want mobile app, there are plenty of ways you can go with. But you won't use mobile app creators because they offer building only very simple applications from templates, like for restaurant or for event. Definitely not something like the blue social thing I just showed you. You won't use HTML5 app creators because they offer building web experience which is underperforming. You could use, but won't use, the Code One solutions because they are underperforming as well, and they already cost money because you need to pay for development time. You can always go to development house, but it will cost you a lot of money. Kinetize is the only solution fulfilling all customers' needs. We already have been noticed by media worldwide. We are most proud of what TechCrunch wrote. Interestingly, it works. We also received some awards. We are most proud of being a worldwide finalist of IBM SmartCamp competition organized in 75 countries, and it costs only $1,000 for publishing the application. We charge developers for using our tool small amounts, like, I'm not sure if it's visible, $9 a month to be able to use our tool to show apps to their clients. But we are charging them only $1,000 after their clients decides that he wants to publish the app. Is the market big for it? Yes, it is. It is estimated to be worth $100 billion a year, this year. And everyone needs mobile application today. What's funny, there is no market leader on this market. There is no such company. We want to take this place. I can see our app is ready. Maciek will download it right now to his phone, just to show you that it really works, what we have built. There is the view on our phone. He scans the QR code, which you can see in here. We get this app. Install. The app is loading there. Come on, come on. Almost there. And there is our app. The video, we log in with Facebook. This is data feed, and this is our map. And the form widget, we can even take a picture. Perhaps you could smile. Send it. Now please open the mailbox. There is the email. There you are. Thank you.
Thank you, Kinetize. Questions from the panel, please.
So it looks like it works, which is good news.
It does.
What sort of traction have you got to date?
We sold apps for $100,000 already. Not just the licenses, but also for creating the apps, actually, for clients. So there are like 50 applications already in app stores. But this model which I just showed you, that we are building a marketplace which connects those two groups of those who can build apps and want apps, is just being implemented, so the traction should get better after it happens.
And who are your key customers? Are they the app developers who work for clients, or are they companies themselves who have in-house techies?
These are developers, but also there are companies that want their one app built, and they are sending their technical guy to use it and build the application with our tool. But mostly we are aiming at developers.
So say you have developed your app the way it publishes it as it stands, and the developer really needs to have it look smoother, or your UX as it defaults to, it doesn't really, behave the way you really, the customer wants. Can the customer get all the source code to modify it themselves from that point, or?
No.
No.
We don't want to give our source code because...
Well, not your source code, but just the source code of the app. But I guess those are source code fragments, or?
Well, we are not giving the source code to iOS app or Android app. We are not doing that. The client can modify his app in our tool as long as he wants and resubmit the application.
Yeah.
Of course, within the boundaries of what we have prepared for them.
Yeah.
But these boundaries are already set very far. As I just showed, we can build Blue Social application in 16 hours. It's really a big power already. No other app creator thing can do something like that. Plus, we are constantly adding more and more widgets, so that when customers come in to us and say, I would love to use your tool because it looks nice, etc. But we need one more additional thing. We are adding those things constantly.
How much money are you planning on in sales this year, and how much money are you asking for what percentage of the company?
Right now, we are not ready to find and to get an investor, because we want to build up attraction. But then when we build up attraction, we'll be asking for Series A of around $20 million. This is a huge thing on a huge market.
So you want to get to around 2 to 5 million in revenue before you get Series A.
Yeah, that's doable because this is not just revenue. When we say that we are asking for $1,000 for publishing, there is like zero cost for us, zero cost per selling unit. Of course, we have cost in-house for the developers, but there is no cost connected to a single sales.
Okay, thank you very much, Kenneth. It's really cool, and thanks to all our presenters today.
Thank you.